Hello, I am Pat Gillum-Sams, the founder and CEO of the Sister Covenant. What is the Sister Covenant? It is a platform for purposed and powerful women to empower and inspire other powerful women of color. Black women are resilient. We nurture the world, our families, our spouses, our children, our communities, the boardroom, and everything in between. But who fills our cup? I often am reminded of when we fly, we're told to put our oxygen mask on first. And that is what the Sister Covenant is all about. It's a safe space for authentic dialogue between sisters, my friends, your friends, all of our friends, coming together for a time such as this. Join me Sunday mornings, 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time, first, third, and fifth Sundays for the Sister Covenant, a safe space to laugh a lot, cry a little, and fill your cup. Good morning. Great Sunday morning. Well, I have to be transparent. It really isn't Sunday morning, but it is a beautiful, beautiful Tuesday in Jacksonville, Florida. And we have a powerful podcast for you today. But before we get there, as always, we want to thank you for being on this journey with us. Thank you for purchasing your Sister Covenant apparel, and you can still do that. Look at those beautiful, beautiful sisters and all of their Sister Covenant apparel. So all you have to do is go to our website, thesistercovenant.com, and purchase your Sister Covenant apparel as well. And as always, for every $100 that you spend, $10 will go to UNCF, because we know a mind is a terrible, terrible thing to waste. Also, as you know, Sister Covenant supports vaccinations, and we are still encouraging everyone you know to become a vaccinated part of our community. So join the 25 challenge by posting a picture or video on why you got vaccinated using the hashtags Powerful Women Get Vaccinated, hashtag Together We Win. Tag at the Sister Covenant and 3 of your friends. It is just that simple. At the end of this podcast, we will show another powerful PSA with some of my dearest friends that are telling you why they chose to get vaccinated, boosted, and any other boosters that are coming out in the future. So get all of your loved ones, and even those you don't, boosted. Now, as we launched last month in February, our sponsorship opportunities, it's an opportunity for you to continue to be a part of the Sister Circle. But if you choose the opportunity to sow a seed in the Sister Covenant and to support powerful sisters on this journey to empower women of color all across this country by being a Sister's Keeper or a sustaining sister. So it is simple. All you have to do is contact us and we'll give you more information. So we would like to share our April Sister Keeper with you, that promo at this time. I am Pat Gillum Sams, the founder and CEO of the Legacy League.
I am Dr. Barbara Darby, Chair of the Board of the Legacy League.
And we are excited to bring this powerful professional leadership program for women, young women of color, to you.
It is a program that will enable these young ladies to be supported, mentored, and encouraged and empowered by women who have blazed a trail and who can provide them with information that will be of great help to them as they move forward professionally.
The programming is rich and it is uniquely designed for young women around 5 pillars of strength: mentorship, leadership, service, sisterhood, and legacy. Legacy to leave a trail where you climb and lift for future generations.
Just imagine not knowing what to do in certain circumstances and having the opportunity to interact with women who have been down that trail, who have had the experiences and can point out some tips that would be very helpful to these young women. You cannot beat that. And so we know that all who engage in this program will leave the better for having gone through it.
Barbara and I have been dear friends for some 40 years, and she, I'm proud to say, has been a mentor to me, and that is priceless. So we invite you to visit our website, thelegacyleague.org, to find out more information on how your company or that special young woman of color in your life can be a part of this powerful program. Well, obviously, I am personally proud of that one. The Legacy League is my passion project, and we are super excited. So please spread the word, share our website information on the legacyleagueinc.org with all of those women of color under 30 that could benefit from this program, and especially get it in front of those companies, organizations, and individuals that find it not robbery to invest in our future by investing in these young women. And again, I am just so appreciative to all of our Sisters Keepers, our February Sister Keeper, March, Brenda Jackson, our March Sister Keeper, Melissa Fulmore Hardwick, Brown Girls in the Boardroom, and all of our Sisters Keepers, Sonia Jackson Miles, Today's Dentistry, Sutel Dentistry, and of course, the Legacy Group and Legacy League. And all of my friends that have gone on this journey with me for 20, 30, 40 years, our sustaining sisters. Thank you, thank you, thank you for being a part of the journey. Many of them you saw in that introductory video at the beginning of the podcast. So thank you. And again, as always, you can be a part of the Sister Circle. All you have to do is go to Facebook and join the Sister Covenant by going And opening Facebook on your phone or computer, searching for the Sister Covenant, finding the Groups tab, click on the group titled The Sister Circle, and click Join. It is just that simple. Now, I am so excited to welcome back to the Sister Covenant platform our spiritual contributor, Tanya Grace. And as you know, Tanya has been on a little bit of a sabbatical, but she's always there with us in spirit and rooting us on for the from the rafters. And now she is back. And she has brought one of her dearest friends, someone that she's known for some 20 years, Keisha Williams Lopez. Keisha is a graduate midwife, and she sat down with us today. And we had an amazing conversation about maternal health and the miracle of birth and midwifery, or wifery. So please, I would like to share that conversation with you now. Tanya, Grace, good morning, my dear. How are you? How you doing?
I feel like it's Happy New Year, I should be saying. So great to see you again, Pat.
I know it has been a minute and life has happened. What's going on with Tanya Grace? Tell us, update us.
I took a season of sabbatical off. I know in our industries, it's so common to just keep going, but I just took some time off for self care because I didn't want to be guilty of not practicing what I preach. So I took some time off and was able to see some new people, see some new places. And I am so glad to be back. I have been following along, and I am so proud of the conversations within our sister covenant that continue to flourish, and hear about all the different women that are thriving.
You know, it is amazing that we are 2 years post this pandemic. It just blows my mind that we started this journey some 18 plus months ago, and now we're here. So through these last 2 years, we've obviously experienced a lot of highs and a lot of lows. So over the next two podcasts, I am just excited to one, share this platform with you, my beautiful sister, but to talk to some amazing women. The one, especially, we're going to talk with this morning, Keisha Williams, and talk about the important topic of childbirth and maternal health. And you and I both are mothers. We are women that have strong conviction and strong faith, and we've had loss, and we've been very transparent last year in talking about our beautiful angels, mine Lauren, who actually would have been 33 this month, and she left us some 20 years ago this year, June 1st. And not just that loss, but childbirth loss. I suffered two miscarriages. And I know you as well have suffered loss. So this topic is very near and dear to both of our heart, right? So talk to us about this guest that we're going to have an opportunity to learn from. And the new term I've learned, midwifery. Midwifery. So, yeah.
I am so excited to introduce this topic. It's an exciting topic, and we're going to go into the reasons why when the White House introduced this topic back in December. But it is such a pleasure to introduce this beautiful woman that we have on our show on today. And she has, her bio is extensive, and I'm sure it will be posted online for many to see. But not only is she currently a gynecological teaching associate at one of our major universities, University of Central Florida in Orlando, School of Medicine. But she is serving as a midwife. And I am so excited to hear her share about this journey of how she embraced this field. She has touched the lives of many babies, ushered the lives of numerous births into this world. So I am very excited that we have this opportunity to speak with her and learn more about her educational and her professional background in maternity care and health service administration and public health. I am just so excited that we have Keisha Williams Lopez with us on today.
Hey, Keisha.
Hello. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. How are you?
I'm well.
This
I'm
great
well.
morning. This
It
great
is
morning.
a great morning. It's a beautiful morning.
You are shining, radiating from the inside out.
Thank you. I'm in my daughter's studio. This is her bedroom, so she's gonna be like, "What are you doing in my room?"
Well, you are fabulous in the studio, my dear. Fabulous. Well, Keisha, thank you so very much for joining us here on the Sister Covenant. And as we just discussed, this conversation is an important one, but yet a delicate one. It is maternal health. It is childbirth. It is the miracle of life. And we don't take it for granted, but sometimes it can become somewhat routine in the way we care for it or talk about it or consider it. So, first, before we get into that conversation, tell us a little bit more about Keisha and what is midwifery? What is midwifery? Why did you choose this path or this profession? And tell us about your role in this important topic of maternal health.
Okay. Well, good morning. My name is Keisha Williams Lopez, and I am the baby girl of Willie Wesley Williams Sr. and Rose Ann Williams. I am born and raised, I'm a Floridian, right here from Fernandina Beach, Amelia Island. This is home for me. I moved away for school and life and family, and I come back home years ago to plant my roots and start my business and grow my family, because this is the best place to be to live and grow your family. And I love Florida. Why did I become a midwife? I didn't even know what a midwife was. I just knew at 7 years old that I was going to deliver babies. And how my brain works, I never thought about the logistics. Even today, it's when I have an idea or something comes to me, it's okay, this is what I'm going to do. I never worry about how, when, or where. And as I matured spiritually, I learned that that wasn't my job to figure out how, when, or where. It's just my job to be obedient. And so I knew that I was going to deliver babies. I had no idea where babies came from or what that process even looked like. I just knew that I would be doing it. And I set myself up to become a pre-med student at the University of Central Florida when I graduated high school. And everyone in my family graduated from UCF. We're all UCF alumni, my sisters, my brother, Now my daughter is a freshman at UCF. My best friends, my daughter's godparents and cousins. So we are definitely a night family. And so I graduated from UCF pre-med with aspirations of becoming an OBGYN. And in between graduating from UCF and applying to medical school, somehow I got pregnant. Not quite sure how that happened, but I did. And her name is Cameron, who's now a freshman at UCF. So I didn't know anything about midwifery. All I knew was about obstetrical care. And I was living in Orlando, and I saw a commercial of a young lady in a rocking chair, and she was, rubbing her belly, and it was a commercial of a birthing center. And it was completely different from what I was experiencing in my prenatal care. And I was pregnant. My prenatal care, I was sitting in a doctor's office for hours because she was a really popular OBGYN in Central Florida. So if my appointment was at 10 o'clock in the morning, I could leave work 9:15, be my appointment at 10. She probably saw me at 11:15, maybe 11:30. So I'm sitting in the waiting room, and I was probably with her about 5 minutes. And I thought that was awesome care because I was seeing one of the most popular midwives in Central Florida. I had no idea that that was subpar care. And then when I saw this commercial, I visited this place and I learned about midwives and what midwifery was. And I thought it was weird because they actually handed me my chart. They handed me my chart. It wasn't like this. So what's your name? And why are you here? Like it was in my OBGYN's office. It was, here's your chart. Write down your name. Okay, check your urine. Write down your own weight. I'll write down my own weight. Wait a minute. I'm writing in my own chart. So I get to see what this is about. It was a completely different experience. I felt that I was involved and I had control. And the very first visit, my daughter's father and I were in an office together for an hour and a half with his midwife, and she interacted with both of us and actually asked me questions and asked him questions and, gave us things to think about and to prepare and educated us. It was just a completely different experience. So that sparked my interest in saying, I'm not sure if obstetrical care is what I wanted for my birth. So I set out to have a birth center experience. And that was my plan. And so I began to see a midwife until I opted out of care. Midwifery is for healthy, low risk births only. And when my pregnancy went to the left, they quickly said, you have to transfer to an OBGYN. And then I had to go back to an OBGYN. At this time, I didn't go back to the one that I had before. I hired a new OBGYN. And that wasn't the best experience. My birth wasn't the best experience for me. And my daughter was preterm. I developed preeclampsia. And so she was born preterm. And because I had a condition called oligohydramnios, that meant that my amniotic fluid was a little low because I had elevated blood pressures, which sometimes makes the amniotic fluid in utero kind of evaporate, for layman's terms. And my perinatologist said, Keisha, I think she's better off, outside the womb. So let's go ahead and schedule for her to be delivered today. And I said, well, I have plans. I got some things to do. So can we do this another day? And he's like, no, we're doing this today. So they delivered her, and my OB nicked her face because when he went to perform the surgery, he says that there wasn't enough amniotic fluid, and then there was a scalpel, and her face was there, her cheek was there, and they handed me this 5-pound baby with steri strips that were larger than her face. So that was my experience, and I was a bit sad because that was definitely not my birth plan, and nothing went the way that I wanted it to go, and I didn't have any control. Not even how many people were in my room, because the nurses said that, my family members had to leave. They said I was, and they induced my labor, but I guess because I wasn't fast enough and going into labor on their schedule, they said, oh, well, failure to progress, which is what we see a lot in the doctor's office, which is really not failure to progress. It's failure to deliver on their shift. That's really what it is. And so they scheduled me for a C-section. And I just delivered a 5-pound baby via C-section that I clearly could have had vaginally, and my blood pressure was controlled. It was just, the variations of abnormalities within that pregnancy that my OB just said, let's just do a C-section and get her out. But I didn't know anything about midwifery or advocacy or doulas or really know much about midwives at that time. And I was young, and 25, and all I knew was obstetrical care. So that really sparked a different interest after that. And so Keisha set out on the journey to look for different options. So I knew that I wanted to deliver babies, but Keisha wanted to deliver babies differently. So years later, I learned about midwifery school in Florida, and I entered into midwifery school, and that was a whole journey in itself. Being Black in Florida in midwifery school, and it was quite an experience that. How do I describe it? I would say it was good and bad. So that experience and what I from entering into the midwifery school that I attended has cultivated a spark in me to be able to offer something different for up and coming midwives for what they need. Keisha assists in a lot of births. I'm a graduate midwife, which means that I have completed my education through midwifery school. And I have one more component to be able to practice independently as a licensed midwife. And I work with licensed midwives, and I work with certified nurse midwives, and we do this collectively. And we work as a team together, so I'm not independent. And we work together, and I love it. And what else did you all ask me? I feel like I'm rambling.
My mouth is dropped, right? You said
Really?
so many things around your personal journey to get to where you are today. And I applaud you because you said you were young. You said you didn't know about midwifery. You said your experience of having your daughter at an tender age of 25 wasn't a good one. And you took the matter into your own hands and charting your course. I'm just one in awe of all of that and wondering how often that probably happens more than not the taking it into your own hands, but some care going awry and the outcome not being what we had hoped for as mothers, expectant mothers?
The having your own birth plan and then your birth plan not going the way that you planned it, you actually grieve. You actually grieve that, because it's like, well, number one, why did I gain 60 pounds and you only gave me a 5-pound baby? Like, that's not even okay. Like, why? So that was a problem in itself. And it wasn't because I like chocolate and popcorn. It wasn't even that. But I didn't know anything about preconception care to optimize my health prior to becoming pregnant. And let's just back up. Okay, so at 25, you are young, wild, and free, and you're not even thinking about, one day I might just get pregnant, so you never even, think about this part. Or at that time I didn't. So what I do now, I tell these, young girls, I'm like, hey, you're having fun, but guess what? One day that fun is going to call you mommy. So before that fun calls you mommy, let's get this body all the way together and be healthy, just in case you have a surprise. And I often look at Cameron and I tell her that she is my medical degree, because she definitely got in the way of a whole lot of stuff, but I wouldn't change it for the world. But I really wish that I had optimized my health and was healthy prior to getting pregnant with her. I feel like I would have had a better outcome with her. And I didn't know that. And in midwifery care, preconception care and preconception education is a vital component. I didn't know, when things started to go awry within my pregnancy, hey, there's some things that we can do to correct this. In obstetrical care, there's not enough time for question and answers and education. You don't get that in obstetrical care. You do in midwifery care, but not in obstetrical care. It's a completely different type of care. Now you get the medical management, because that's what obstetrical care is. It's just medical management. Midwifery care is completely different. It's a more holistic care of the whole woman and her family. What we do in our practice, we offer something completely different as well. We offer midwifery maternity care, and it's midwifery care mixed with the maternity care, because we make sure that, yes, we're giving you the holistic, and we take it a step above just the basics of the medical management. So having certified nurse midwives on our teams and close relationships with OBGYNs that we can, streamline our patients over to them, that makes it better in our practice, and it's safer for our patients. And because we definitely are here for our moms, we spend a lot of time with education, prevention, advocacy. And we teach our moms how to listen to their babies and listen to their bodies. And prevention is the biggest thing. So we can, if we see something going wrong, we can prevent it prior to, so that there are no medical emergencies, so that mom doesn't have to risk out of hospital birth care, and so that she can stay in the practice, so that she can stay healthy and have the birth that she does desire. So 99% of the time when the women come to us, if they're not in optimal health, then we get them on course, making sure that their nutrition is in place. There's herbs, there's diets, healthy diets. We correct them when we do ask them, what they're eating, and we say, don't cheat, just tell us, if you ate Doritos for, 3 times a day, tell us. We can pull something out of, Doritos. Like, just tell us what you ate, and don't be afraid to tell us what you ate all week, so we can figure out, what you're doing at the house, so you can stay with us, and just having that open dialect, and they feel safe and not judged. It's a big difference in between midwifery care and obstetrical care.
Thank you so much, Keisha,
I
because
don't even know if I answered your question, because I think I went like 50 different directions with my.
No, you definitely did. You gave us information that I don't think is readily available. You gave us,
right.
because we're conditioned. We do what we've seen done before. I mean, I got pregnant. I'm happy. My husband and I go find a doctor that maybe my friend went to, and there I am. I'm on that journey, and that's what we are conditioned to do. But you shared alternative paths with us. And again, what I'm taking away, and I know Tanya's going to talk about this, is taking control. Even in talking about the Doritos, I'm taking control of my diet, right? Somebody is leaning in to say, hey, I'm not judging, but this may be a way you can do this differently, so to have a better outcome. So I'm sorry, Tanya, what were you about to say?
No, I was just very, that's one, just to hear Keisha talk about the healthcare prior to a woman's prenatal care. I mean, that is so very important. And I mean, that's something that they talked about back in December when Kamala Harris, our vice president, hosted the first ever White House Day of Action on maternal health to address those systemic inequities related to pregnancy and childbirth. And one of the things when I was watching that healthcare summit is they shared some statistics that even today, I mean, that summit was held 2021, but we can say 2022, Black women are 3 times more likely to die from pregnancy-related complications. So, I mean, it's important that women know, as Keisha was mentioning, that there are alternatives. I know from talking to Keisha over the years, not many women may choose to go and decide to have their children or birth in a hospital setting, but they need to be aware that there are alternatives and they can still get quality prenatal care, which is extremely important. So I wanted to ask Keisha, because one of the things that they talked about that I pulled from that maternal healthcare summit was the fact that women who live in like rural communities are about 60% more likely to die or be left scarred or even scared from pregnancy related complications. You talked about, having an expectation and grieving, this experience that should be joyful, but it ends up being an experience that is less than joyful for some women. So why should women seek midwifery care versus obstetrical care?
Okay. Why should women seek midwifery versus obstetrical care? Well, first, Miss Tanya Grace, let me back up to say the statistics is I watched the same summit, and I am honored that First Lady Vice President Kamala Harris did that call to action for maternal health care, and it was needed. So I I was on the edge of my seat, just listening to this summit. We've been talking about the same thing over and over again for quite some time. Black women are 3 to 4 times more likely to die than white women. And if you are in New York, then you are 8 to 12 times more likely to die. Like, that's absurd. With that being said, we are one of the richest countries ever. And our morbidity and mortality rate continuously is rising. And the funny thing about it is we put so much money into healthcare in the United States, and our statistics continuously is rising. And as I watched this summit and I saw the roundtable, I said, okay, we have doulas there, check. We have moms that have had less than favorable outcomes, okay, check. We have medical professionals there, check. But we don't have any midwives there. There wasn't any midwives at the table. And I was like, okay, what's missing? And I'm listening to her say, we've taken initiative. We're cranking out $20 million domestically, $100 million globally, to educate providers. And I thought about to educate providers. So to educate the providers that's already giving us subpar care, to educate them on what? How to care for us? I don't know if compassion can be taught. I mean, that might be subjective. Can you teach compassion? Can you teach empathy? Can you teach being proactive? Can you teach love? Can you teach being a servant? To me, it's in my DNA. All of those things that I just named is in my DNA. My aunt, Annie Simmons Coleman, was a midwife here in Nassau County, and she delivered hundreds of babies. And when people see me in town, they'll say, oh, your aunt delivered me, or your aunt delivered my baby. And, these women are, their grandmas and great grandmothers, and they're telling me the stories of how my aunt delivered their babies. And they would go and knock on her front door. And her house is 2 minutes down the street from my house right now. And they would be in labor, and they would stay in her house until they had their babies. She never gave them a time limit. And then they talked about how good her fried chicken was. She would make them fried chicken. And I said, she gave them protein. She knew what to do. She fed them. She knew what to do. 0 bad outcomes. She knew what to do. I delivered the experience in Midwifery school. It was me and 3 other classmates, along with my preceptor. We went over to the Dominican Republic to deliver babies, because prior to graduating from midwifery school, we had to deliver at least 75 births. But it's always more than that, because you always have transfers or failure to progress. It was just always something. So 75 was the number that we had to say, okay, these are 75 solid births. But I promise you, by the time we graduated midwifery school, we were well over 100 and something babies, with assisting in these babies, ushering in them into the world. But in 11 days in Dominican Republic, assisting in 27 births, there were 0 bad outcomes. 0. I'm in the poorest conditions, the most horrific hospital that I could ever imagine. And being an American and rotten spoiled, because I am, and living here in Amelia Island all my life, or Florida all my life, where we're just used to, the finer things, the luxury. Then you send me to Dominican Republic in a village. I had no idea what to expect. And so when I got there and I saw the conditions, I cried. And I first cried and I apologized to God because I said, God, I'm sorry because I didn't realize how blessed I am. Because, you say, oh, I'm blessed, I'm blessed, I'm blessed. But no. You don't really realize, or you don't understand how blessed you are until you see someone who has nothing. So then I said, wow. So now I don't take anything for granted, because he, when I say he, God has shown me a different way of how people live. You can, see things on television and you see these commercials. Oh, send money over here for these kids because they're homeless. It's different when you're in the situation where you have, these women are laboring on cots with no sheets. And there's no sheets because the family didn't bring sheets. And there's no room service. So these women ate if the family had enough rice to bring to them. There's no OSHA protocol. There was a bucket of water, freestanding water in the middle of this delivery room, and we had to dip our hands in this bucket and wash our hands in this bucket. And I'm saying everything is contaminated, like everything is dirty, and I'm like, I am appalled, and I'm saying, and they're looking at me like, if you don't get these high privileged Americans up out here. But after I came to myself, and my friends calmed me down because they had to, I took in the experience, and I realized that they see birth the way that it's supposed to be. Birth is natural and undisturbed. These women came into the labor. They came in and they labored by themselves. Those nurses wasn't bothering them. It wasn't a call button because they're whining, because they wanted a fluffy pillow or they needed some ice. Those women didn't do any of that because it wasn't even that available to them. They came in and they labored and they had their babies. The husbands were not allowed to be in there. Men are not allowed to be in the rooms with these women. And they're in the room with, 10 to 15 other women that they don't know, and everyone is laboring. And they had their babies. They stayed overnight, maybe. And then if they didn't stay overnight, the dad would come and pick them up on a scooter. Some of them had C-sections. There was no hydrocodone for them to go home with. There was no comfort measures for them. There was none of that. They got on a scooter after having a C-section. And I was like, how? I had a C-section, and I promise you, when my husband rolled over a pebble in the car, I wanted to throw the whole car seat at the back of his head because I was hurt. So I don't even know how they did that. I have no idea, and they didn't complain. 0 bad outcomes, healthy moms, healthy babies. And in every place in that hospital, there were signs that said no bottles. Formula was not allowed. It was illegal to have formula in the hospital. Everybody had to breastfeed their babies. Everyone. Including an HIV positive mom that was in there. I was like, wait, please give this lady no bottles. Everybody breastfed. So I was like, okay. And then we come to the United States with all the money in the world, and our statistics continuously rise. Yes, First Lady Kamala Harris did an awesome job, and I'm looking forward to more of her call to actions. The one component that I would suggest to our First Lady is that I feel like what we can do to really change the statistics, because we keep talking about it. You have these intellectual giants at these round tables. You have these creative people at these round tables, from Johns Hopkins to Harvard to Northeastern to Yale. you have all of these wonderful graduates and physicians talking about the same thing, saying the same thing. It's racism within our healthcare, and it really is. So my dad will say, and I'm from Fernandina, so my dad will say, you have 6 in one hand and half a dozen in the other. So you can say, no, it's not racism, but it is. So you can call it however you want to call it, but numbers don't lie, because it's our women and our babies that are not coming home once they're entering into these hospitals. We as Black women are marginalized. Black women are not heard in these hospitals. Black women are not taken seriously. Black women are overlooked. Black women are not educated. They think that we don't comprehend. They think that we don't understand. When 99% of the time, we're the smartest ones in the room. Let's not get me started, because I just watched a whole fiasco on CNN with this new judge that they are. Okay, I digress. But anyway,
Let me ask you a question, Keisha. And you talked about Vice President Kamala Harris, and so applaud her, because we know that this is the end of Women's History Month. And the theme for Women's History Month was the medical care, and how women have led and been in the forefront of the medical community way back 400 years ago from Africa, from slavery. And we've talked about, and you mentioned your grandmother and her delivery of babies on the island of Fernandina. And I would submit all around this country during our 400 years ago during slavery, that was on plantations and in our society, we had women of color, Black women delivering babies.
Yes.
Doulas also.
Yes.
So tell us, what's the difference? And you mentioned doulas on that press conference with Vice President Harris. What's the difference between a doula and a midwife? And is this cultural? Do you see midwifery in other cultures today?
Okay. The difference in between a doula and a midwife is a doula is not medically trained to deliver the baby, take care of the mother prenatally, the labor and delivery, postpartum, and take care of the newborn. Doulas are trained to support the mother through education, comfort measures, advocate for the mom, support the family and the father. Doulas help with lactation care and things of that nature. Doulas are not there to take the place of the partner. A doula is there to assist. Also, doulas work well with the midwives. The midwives have extensive training through school and licensure to make them licensed and legal to be able to practice independently. If they've graduated through midwifery school, they're practicing with licensed midwives, and so they're licensed independently. And they're trained for, medical emergencies and to take care of the mom through prenatal care and labor and delivery and postpartum and newborn. And so the midwife and the doulas work together. So they work together as a team, but the doula doesn't deliver the babies or do any clinical assessments at all.
And is it cultural? I mean, and what I mean by that, do you see in your practice more women of color coming to take advantage of midwifery or doulas? Or do you see, and generational, do you see the rise coming now with our younger women that are now in childbearing years? Is it age related? Is it cultural, women in the majority, or a combination of?
I believe it's a combination. Number one, everyone is paying attention to these statistics. And we're in a world where choices is everyone wants to have choices now. I mean, well, I won't say now, but everyone advocates for themselves. And this generation, this younger generation, they're the ones that's out in the forefront saying, hey, we don't like this law, or we don't like this bill, and we're going to change it. And if it's not changed, we're going to do this until you change it. So they definitely are very vocal on saying, we don't like these policies and procedures, and we want to do it our way. With this generation, I see in our practice, we have a mixed culture. We have lots of white patients and Black patients and Latino patients. And it's not so much that we see mostly Black women, but I will say that a lot of Black women are seeking Black midwives, and that's what we need. So we need more Black birth workers, more Black birth lactation consultants and doulas and midwives and postpartum doulas, just Black birth workers, period. So the call to action should be more Black birth workers to combat these statistics, because putting money into trying to educate these providers that don't understand us anyway is not helping. And also preventing the situation before it arises. And a midwife sees the course and corrects it before it goes awry. So if we had more midwives and put more midwives in these hospitals, put more midwives in these ERs, that would combat the statistics of the morbidity and mortality rate. Our cesarean section would be less, and these moms will leave with the births that they desire, and they will go home with their baby in their arms. Having more midwives and midwives of color will alleviate the catastrophic numbers of, these moms not being able to conceive again because she had a bad outcome, and now she had a full hysterectomy because she didn't have a uterus, because she had a postpartum hemorrhage that could have been prevented. And hemorrhages is preventable. 60% of all of the things that happen in the hospital with these statistics are preventable. And they're preventable because as midwives, we take our time. And we make sure that we educate our patients, and that our patients are in good health, and we pay attention because we have the time. Our visits are 30 minutes to an hour and a half long, versus obstetrical care where the visits are about 5 to 10 minutes long. When I was pregnant, my last baby, I don't know if it's because he knew that I'm a medical professional myself. And I'm right here, and I don't know if because he had a working relationship with me, but when I would go and see my OBGYN, I left that office and I was like, he didn't check my urine. It's one time. I left this office after a visit. He didn't check fetal heart tones. Those are the two main things that you do if you don't do anything else. When you see a mom and she comes into your office, you check her urine and you check fetal heart tones. Urine tells me, how is this mother doing? Fetal heart tones tells me, how is this baby doing? So if this provider didn't do either one to me, then he didn't see me or my baby that day, but he ran my insurance card.
One of the things you also mentioned in your conversation, which many women don't have an opportunity or a platform to talk about, is the loss that they experience, during their pregnancy. They may have a miscarriage. Mm-hmm. And I know that there's a month of October dedicated to pregnancy and infant loss and awareness.
Yes.
You know, and I know that you've had to help women go through their grieving process in their pregnancies. As Pat mentioned, she and I have both experienced it. Can you talk about that a little bit and how you've seen that in your practice, if
Yes.
any?
Yes. Well, I think pregnancy loss is a topic where many of us can relate. I am a mom of 2 angel babies. My son Dayon would have been 14, and my daughter Chloe would have been 5. And so going through that, even if if pregnancy loss is in the first trimester, or your pregnancy loss and your baby is 10 years old or so, it's a loss that you honestly truly cannot describe. And in pregnancy, I've experienced as a student, and now as a professional, moms that are carrying their babies, and for whatever reason their pregnancy stops, and that's the body's way of saying, hey, something isn't right. So the pregnancy is no longer viable, and that is difficult. So dealing with that, we make sure that mom understands that the process is the same. I'll tell you, when I went through my last miscarriage, the first miscarriage, I'll be personal, the first miscarriage, I opted for a D&C because the way my OB described it was, you don't want to be out and something happens, and now you're having all of these symptoms, and you're bleeding, and you're probably in a grocery store. So I was afraid of what might happen. And the second time this happened, I graduated midwifery school, and now I'm a graduate midwife, and I understand, okay, well, I can do this naturally. And I did that, but it didn't connect with me that when you're going through a miscarriage, that you're actually going to labor. So I'm cramping. Well, it's the same as being in labor, but you're not going to have and hold a baby after that process. So when you're going through the miscarriage, if you opt out to do it naturally at home, I prepared the women to have a doula. And I had a doula. And I had a doula with me when I had my miscarriage, and I was going through my miscarriage at home, and I was laboring, and my contractions would be coming every 2 to 3 minutes, and it was real, but I didn't have a baby afterwards. And that part of the miscarriage and going through, I'm saying in my mind, wait a minute, I don't want to do this because it's not time yet. So it was a mental battle. And then physiologically, my body is saying, but this isn't viable, so we got to let it go. So it was a spiritual war, it was a physical war, and I wasn't prepared for that. And I feel like that going through that experience sets me in a different level of being a graduate midwife, to be able to experience that and teach the moms, hey, you might go through this because you're opting to do this naturally. So this is what you might experience. This is what you can expect. Have a doula. And then on top of that, welcome the process of saying, hey, this is my child, this is my baby, and really experience that. And then have a grieving process through that. And we had it set up where you want to know if it was a boy or a girl or what was going on genetically. There is testing in place now that you can get all those answers. So women are able to collect the fetal product and bring it into the office, and we send it off to the lab, and they're able to get the results and find out, was this a boy or was this a girl, and what was going on, so that we can get answers to prevent this from happening again. if we're able to prevent it from happening again. And we give them postpartum care, because you need postpartum care through miscarriage. And people think, oh, you had a miscarriage because there's no baby, that you don't need prenatal care. I mean, postpartum care or labor and doula care. You do. You need it more than anything. And you're going to bleed afterwards. You're going to go through all the hormone changes because you were pregnant at some point. So all your hormones that were here, for a hot ever many weeks, once you have that miscarriage and your body's released the baby, your hormones do a drastic decline, as if you've actually birthed the baby. So now you're in the postpartum period. And so you need that care along with counseling, because there's not a baby. And for us moms who've lost their babies, there's no end date to our counseling. So there's not an end date, which is why we have the case management part, the component of the maternity and wellness company that we're offering case management, because mental health is real, and we need to make sure that we take care of our mental health no matter what. So we want to make sure that we have our families at all times. So I'm looking forward to that. But having a miscarriage you need the same care as having a baby. If I, number one, didn't have the strength to advocate for myself, or the education to know that what he did was wrong, and if I didn't have the power to say I'm seeking someone else, I would have stayed and received sub care. The statistics has nothing to do with socioeconomic status. Nothing. Because I'm not in a rural area. I'm definitely not uneducated. And I'm not broke. Okay? So not at all. And I still received subpar care. I still had less than favorable outcomes on both of my pregnancies. And it had nothing to do with money, my insurance, or where I live. And I had to advocate for myself every time.
Right. And what you're sharing, Keisha, is so, my heart, it's really a story. You beat the odds. You really have beat the statistics. And I'm so proud of you, because I know that you are teaching in these high schools. You're teaching at one of our main universities in Florida, at the School of Medicine at University of Central Florida. And everything you're saying, when women do not get the health care that they need, families suffer, communities suffer, and our nation suffers. And just like you said, mothers are not just the backbone of the family. Mothers are the backbone of our nation and our economy. And these children that are coming into this world should and deserve proper care, just as their mothers. They deserve proper prenatal, postnatal health care.
Yes.
So, Keisha, we don't have enough time. We never have enough time. So, have to promise that you're going to come back here to the Sisters, and we will talk with you. But tell us in these remaining minutes, first, how can a woman, if she chooses to go into the career path of midwifery, what would she do to start that journey? And then we want to know what's next for Keisha. We want to know where to find you. If there are women that want to take control and explore alternative paths of childbirthing and just become educated even before getting pregnant, you
Yes.
know, and not having some of those outcomes that are less than favorable that you talked about.
Yes. Okay. Um, well, first, um, thank you for extending this platform to me. This was my very first time talking. I am quiet. Tanya will tell you I'm quiet. She said to me that I'm very modest. This is the first time that I've spoken openly outside of my little circle and village about what I do, um, and the Maternity and Wellness Company is going to offer preconceptional care, prenatal care, prenatal education, postpartum care, Montree services, vaginal steaming, lactation and education and support, well women's care, and also case management. That's going to be a component of the Maternity and Wellness Company, and that's going to be here in Nassau County. And that's going to be under the Bundle of Joy Birth and Wellness Center. So I'm really excited, and that's going to be here 2022 this year. So we're working on that. We're really excited. So if you want to find me, I'm on Instagram, and I'm also on Facebook as well. Also, if someone is interested in becoming a midwife or a birth worker, number one, we need you. We need everybody, but I'm doing a special call to women of color. We need women of color to get into this field to combat these numbers. It's not just educating the providers that's in the hospital, because that's not going to fix it. They've been pumping money into that for years, and we've not gotten anywhere. And the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. So what we need is a different result. So we need to do something different. So we need to create a space where we have women of color to come in and be educated to become birth workers and midwives, and have a birthing center for us where we are able to safely be midwifery students and learn and actually graduate and sit for the state board exam and pass this state board exam and get licensed and practice. So I would definitely love to speak with anybody, and I will be their midwifery or midwife doula to help them through this journey and navigate them through this journey of becoming a midwife. And so we have a really big project that we're working on so that we can actually birth something to help Black women or women of color become birth workers and midwives in the state of Florida, to make it seamless for them and easy for them, so that they can do it. Because that's the only way we can get these numbers down. We need Black birth workers, and we need a space for them to come to. So we have some things in the works, so just stay tuned. Not talking too much, but I'm excited about it. It's always coming.
Keisha, you are a blessing. You're a beautiful, beautiful being inside and out. We love the fabulous studio that your daughter has lent you this morning.
She's gonna get me. I'm in trouble. I'm gonna have her call you. I'm gonna say, call Miss Sam's. It's her fault. And call Miss Grace.
She's proud. She's proud of her mom. I know she is. Thank you for sharing. We're looking forward to all the great things that you have in store in 2022. You will come back when you are ready to introduce it to the world. And we are wishing you and praying Godspeed to you, my sister.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you for having me. God bless you.
God bless. Wow. Wow. What a beautiful woman inside and out. And I pray that the information she shared was empowering for some young woman that is beginning her journey and and her maternal health journey as she prepares for that most blessed time of her life, becoming a mother. So, my sisters, again, I invite you to join us at the end of this podcast for another powerful PSA about becoming vaccinated and getting all those you love to be vaccinated as well and boosted. But I also invite you to join us in 2 weeks, Easter Sunday, for another powerful podcast. We've talked about the miracle of birth, but we're also going to talk about in this season grief, but how we will make meaning out of grief as we have been in this pandemic for 2 years, but as we are in this season of renewal and spring. So, as always, my sisters, be bold, be brilliant, be brave, my sisters. You are all so very beautiful, and be blessed.
People are dying every day from the coronavirus. I am vaccinated because I care about my family, my friends, and my community. Powerful women get vaccinated. Together, we win.
Getting vaccinated is a matter of life and death. I choose to spread health and life instead of disease and death. That's why I was vaccinated. Powerful women get vaccinated. Together, we win.
I got vaccinated because I wanted to live. I didn't want to be a burden on my family, on my children, on my friends to take care of me just because I could have made a very easy decision and didn't. Powerful women together, we will win.
Hi, I decided to get vaccinated because it is proven to lower the spread of the disease. Powerful women get vaccinated. Together, we win.
Why did I get vaccinated? Well, for 3 reasons. The first is the CDC recommended it, and I believe in the CDC. I want to remain healthy, and they recommend that you get vaccinated so that you can remain healthy. It's safe. I have gotten the flu shot for the past 20 years, and I have never caught the flu. And I have been vaccinated with the flu shot for years. So it is safe to get vaccinated. And lastly, probably the most important reason is as a full-time caregiver for my mother, who's 75 years old with underlying issues, I needed to get vaccinated because it was important for me to be her caregiver. I must take care of myself. So it is important that we care for our elderly and that we want to protect them at all times. Powerful women get vaccinated. Together, we win.
Hello, I'm Mia Jones, CEO for Agape Family Health. And it was critical for me to get vaccinated because I have the opportunity to care for my mother, who's 85 years old. And I knew that it was important for me to make sure that I was protecting her as I was going out and protecting our community. Powerful women get vaccinated. Together we win.
I got the COVID vaccine as soon as it was available to me. I had COVID-19 in March 2020, and so did my husband. As soon as the vaccine was offered, I took it, not only to protect others, but to also protect myself. Powerful women get vaccinated. Together, we win.
Hello, my name is Lorraine Polite Clark. I decided to get vaccinated because as a wife, as a mother, and as someone with a whole host of folks who expect me to be healthy, they also rely on me to make prudent health care choices. Powerful women get vaccinated. Together we win.
I got vaccinated because I care about my body and I want the best health that I can possibly have for myself. I also care about my family, especially my 8-year-old grandson who is a leukemia survivor. I care about my friends, and I care about my community. Together, we meet this moment and we win.